All right, a very good evening to you, Francis, from the Durban ICC, which is the Results Operations Center here in KwaZulu-Natal. Yes, you're speaking about incidents of violence during the campaigns, but updates that we've received during the course of the day is that on the security front, everything has run smoothly. Our security forces have been out monitoring the hotspots. We've been speaking a lot about the hotspots in the eThekwini Metro. These are the hostels, Gleeblands and Kwamash Hostel. There has been a heavy police presence in those areas, as well as the areas outside of the city of Durban. Speaking of Escourt, Wembezi Township, up in the northern parts of KwaZulu-Natal, Nongoma, Ulundi, everything has gone well in those areas. And the IEC has said that they're quite pleased with the fact that there has not been any incidents regarding security that will threaten people's lives and prevent them from being able to cast their votes. But one thing, unfortunately, as you've heard in the rest of the country, the bad weather has also gripped parts of KwaZulu-Natal. Heavy winds. Just an update from the IEC. That was around in the afternoon, 4 o'clock, where we heard that in Vryheid, 4 tents had been blown away down in the south coast in areas from Port Shepstone, the Hibiscus Coast, right down to Harding in the south of KwaZulu-Natal. Heavy winds there and tents been blown away. We've just also heard now up in the north, Paul Petersburg, 7 tents have been blown away there. The IEC has said that they are seeking alternative venues so that people in those areas that have now been affected, that they'll be able to cast their votes. And of course, it's about 30 or less than 30 minutes now till the voting stations close. But they did say that they will accommodate those people who are still in the queues. We also have heard from the Department of Cooperative Governance. They manage the disaster management teams. They've said that they are also on standby. They also will be supplying lights. There are many voting stations here in the province that are in schools and areas that don't have electricity, so they'll be assisting by providing lighting at those voting stations. All right. Just speaking, going back to the issue of security. Now, one of the areas that has been a hotspot and unfortunately is one of the areas where a candidate was killed in the build-up to the elections. That is the area of Newcastle, Ward 6, when ANC candidate Thembi Mbongo was killed in that area just less than a month before the elections. And my colleague Mlondi Hadebe is in Ward 6, standing by in Ward 6. So let's now cross to Mlondi to get an update on what is happening in Newcastle. Mlondi, very good evening to you.
Good evening, Ayanda. Welcome to Newcastle.
All
Ayanda.
Right.
In Newcastle, it's cold here.
Mlondi, let's first start. The weather has caused disruptions in a number of areas across the province. How's the weather like in Newcastle?
The weather in Newcastle, Ayanda, it's cold and it was windy earlier during the day. Some voting stations were also affected because there were temporal structures like tents. So they have that problem in some areas of Newcastle. But now in the evening, we still see the long queues in other VDs as we are in Ward 2. This VD, it seems as if it's the busiest VD in Newcastle. But in other wards, you could see that people are still coming in numbers to cast their votes. And we were still expecting to get a briefing from the MEC for Community Safety of KwaZulu-Natal. But at this point in time, we're still waiting for him to give us a brief in relation to what is happening basically across the province in relation to the safety and the deployment of police officers.
All right, just from what you've picked up on, Londi, speaking about the security, you've been visiting areas around Newcastle. The security, how has that been?
The security, the police officers are all over the township, and they are inside the voting stations. And it seems as if it's quiet in terms of crime and in terms of any fighting. There are no infightings, but we do see that political parties in this area, they are just outside. Some they started celebrating. We don't know whether do they have anything to celebrate as yet, because the results, no one has counted the ballot papers as yet.
All right. Also, the ward that you're in, obviously there were problems. As I just spoke about the killing there of Thembi Mbongwa. What is the mood from the people? Were they happy to go to come out to vote today? And we understand that you were going to try and meet with Thembi's family. Have you met with them? And what have they said?
Basically, the family of Thembi Mbongwa came here at the station earlier during this day to cast their votes. The husband told us that they are voting in her legacy to make sure that her name is never forget. No one will forget her name in the area in relation to the politics of this area. And most of the voters here, they also say that they wanted her to be their councillor in the area because they hope that she was going to bring peace and stability in the area, also service delivery in the area.
The other area close by to you, London, that is which has been another hot spot and a problematic area in our last elections, and that is in Wembezi Escourt. Have you been able to visit that area at all, and just give us an update on what is happening, what the situation is in Wembezi Escourt?
Basically, Ayanda, in this ward, we understand that in Newcastle, ANC have 33 seats and IFP had 12 seats, and DA 5, NFP 5, and all the other small parties were sharing 6 seats within the municipality after the 2011 elections. But now, in this time, we are not sure what is going to happen in this after these elections results announced.
All right, Mlondi, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much for your time. That was our reporter, Mlondi Hadebe, who's reporting to us from Newcastle. All right, as you can see there, Mlondi saying that the weather is also it's cold and chilly up in Newcastle and other parts of the province, as we've said there, that there is bad weather conditions which has disrupted the voting process. However, the IEC has said that they are trying to find alternative venues for to allow voters to be able to vote, but they have said that people who are still in the queues, they will be given the opportunity to vote. They are then also calling on people in the last few minutes to please make it to the voting stations. At around this afternoon, they were saying that the voter turnout was still quite low. Many of the elderly were seen to come out since the early hours of the morning, and they're quite pleased with that. However, they were concerned that young people were holding back and were delaying, and they were calling on young people to make it to those voting stations in time and to ensure that they cast their ballots. Also, another issue that has come out in KwaZulu-Natal, of course, is that news that 41 officials have been suspended. They've been suspended for the incorrect administration of votes with suspicion of electoral fraud. The IEC saying that it cannot allow the integrity of the electoral process to be compromised. All right, we will continue to throughout the night. I guess tonight it's going to be a long night as we await those first results to come in. It's still pretty quiet here at the results center, but we have seen leaders of political parties making their way, eagerly awaiting, of course, as soon as those results start coming through. All right, we're going to leave it there for now here in KZN and return back to Pretoria.